The rain was getting heavier, cold droplets splashing into puddles under the streetlights. Leo shivered in his thin jacket, his bare feet muddy and freezing. He had just been cornered by the kids from the next neighborhood over, mocked, pushed to the ground. He ran, not knowing how far he had gone. The rain pounded down, his breath ragged in his ears. The alleys led him to an unfamiliar part of town where elegant houses lined the streets. His vision blurred from the rain, exhaustion pressing down on him. Finally, he reached a grand mansion, its warm lights shining like a beacon. Hesitantly, he knocked on the door. At first, it was just a soft tap. No answer. He knocked harder. "Please, help me!" His voice trembled, swallowed by the sound of the rain. After a moment, the door cracked open. A woman stood there, her blonde hair cascading down. Her eyes widened in surprise at the sight of the soaking wet boy. Leo took a step back, heart pounding as he recognized her face. Margot Elise Robbie. She looked at him, then glanced down the street, but there was no one there, only the rain washing away all traces. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice tinged with hesitation. Leo bit his lip, hugging himself tightly, unsure of what to say. He had run so far, and now he was standing in front of a movie star. "I got bullied," he finally said. "They chased me. I didn't know where else to go." Margot was silent, her gaze drifting over his soaked clothes. A flicker of doubt crossed her face, but looking at the trembling child, she couldn't ignore him. "Come inside," she said gently. "You're drenched." Leo hesitated, but the cold had numbed his fingers. Finally, he stepped in. The mansion was warm, filled with a soft, vanilla scent. The fireplace crackled, making him feel like he had entered another world. Margot draped a towel over his shoulders. "Sit down. I'll get you something dry to wear." She disappeared for a moment, and Leo sat, gripping the towel tightly, his heart still racing. He couldn't believe where he was, inside Margot Robbie's house. She returned with a set of dry clothes. "Do you want to change?" Leo nodded, taking the clothes awkwardly. She pointed to the bathroom. "There are towels if you want to dry off." Inside, he stared at himself in the mirror, a drenched boy with hair plastered to his forehead. Meanwhile, Margot sat outside, deep in thought. She had no idea who he was, but something in his eyes made it impossible for her to turn him away. Leo stepped out, now dressed in an oversized sweater. He folded his wet clothes neatly, not wanting to dirty the gleaming floor. Margot smiled softly and patted the seat across from her. "Sit down. Do you want something to drink? Tea, milk, or hot cocoa?" Leo hesitated, not used to being asked that. After a moment, he mumbled, "Milk, if that's okay." Margot nodded and disappeared into the kitchen, returning with a warm cup, setting it in front of him. He took a small sip, the comforting sweetness filling his mouth. She watched him for a moment, then asked gently, "Do you want to tell me what happened?" Leo tightened his grip around the cup, hesitating before speaking. "I live in Southside. My mom works 2 jobs, so she's not home much. At school, kids tease me because I don't have a dad. I try to ignore them, but today they cornered me, took my backpack, pushed me down. I tried to get up, but they just laughed. I didn't want to fight, so I ran. And somehow, I ended up here." Margot listened quietly, letting out a soft sigh as he finished. "You were really strong, Leo," Margot said sincerely. "Being strong doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes knowing how to protect yourself is a kind of courage, too." Leo looked up at her, feeling uncertain. He wasn't sure if he believed that, but something in Margot's voice made him feel a little lighter. "Miss Margot?" He hesitated. "I don't know why I knocked on your door. I was just scared." Margot smiled gently and reached out, ruffling his damp hair. "Sometimes, when we're desperate, our hearts lead us to the safest place." Leo sat still. In that moment, Margot wasn't a movie star. She wasn't a stranger. She felt like someone he could rely on, even if just for one night. Outside, the rain was easing up, and inside, the storm in his heart was quieting too. Margot studied him softly. Would you like to stay for a while? I'll help you contact your mom in the morning. Leo looked up, gratitude shining in his eyes. He didn't want to go back out into the cold, dark night. Yes, thank you, he murmured. The room settled into a comfortable silence. The fireplace crackled, filling the space with warmth. Leo sipped his milk, letting the heat chase away the last bit of cold. Margot set her tea down. Do you like movies? Leo blinked, a little caught off guard, then nodded. I do, but I don't go to the theater much. My mom doesn't have a lot of money, so I just watch old movies on TV. Margot smiled. I love movies too, that's why I do what I do. Leo's curiosity sparked. Why? She chuckled. Because movies take us to different worlds. When I was little, my family didn't have much either, but movies made me feel like I could go anywhere, be anyone. They made me believe something bigger was out there waiting for me. Leo nodded. He understood that feeling. So, what kind of movies do you like? Margot grinned. Superhero movies, but also stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Leo tilted his head. Like what? Margot smirked. Like you tonight. Leo's eyes widened. Me? She nodded. Running away isn't always cowardice. Sometimes it's the only way to protect yourself. What matters is what we do after. Leo fell quiet, turning her words over in his mind. Then, out of nowhere, Margot stood up. Wait here a sec. He heard her rummaging in another room. A few minutes later, she returned with a stack of DVDs. These are some of my favorites. You might like them. She placed them on the table, her eyes twinkling with excitement. Leo read the titles, something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel lost. Can I watch them? He asked, his voice full of hope. Margot smiled. Of course, but on one condition. Leo tensed slightly. What is it? I'll help you call your mom in the morning, but if you have trouble at school, you have to promise me you'll find someone. Your mom, a teacher, who can help you. Leo looked into her kind eyes and felt something warm settle inside him. I promise, he said, slow but certain. Margot nodded approvingly. Good. Now, how about a movie night? Leo blinked in surprise. Really? Margot winked. You're my guest, aren't you? For the first time, Leo smiled. Really smiled. He didn't know what had brought him here, but one thing was certain. Tonight was a night he'd never forget. He clutched his cup of milk, feeling a weight in his chest. Even though he felt safe, the fear of the bullies hadn't disappeared. Tomorrow, when he went back to school, things might go back to the way they were. Margot seemed to understand his thoughts. She set down her tea and looked at him directly. You're still afraid of them, aren't you? Leo nodded, shame creeping in. Margot didn't laugh at him. Instead, she tilted her head and asked, Have you ever tried standing up to them? Leo lowered his gaze. I'm not strong enough. Jason's way bigger than me, and he always has his friends. I'm alone. Margot was quiet for a moment, then stood up and pulled a notebook from the shelf. You know, in movies, the hero isn't always the strongest. Sometimes their best weapons are their mind and their courage. She opened the notebook and placed it in front of him. Do you want to learn how to face them? Leo blinked. Learn how? Margot crossed her arms and suddenly took on a different tone. All right, kid, hand over your backpack. Leo nearly dropped his milk, startled. Instinctively, he took a step back. Margot held up a hand. No, Leo, don't back away. What else can you do? Leo swallowed hard. I don't know. She nodded. All right, let's try again. When you face a bully, don't show fear. They want to see you scared. Stay calm. She shifted back into character. Hey, kid. Where's your bag? Hand it over. Leo gripped his cup tightly, trying to steady himself. He took a deep breath and slowly set the cup down. This time, instead of shrinking away, he looked Margot straight in the eye. No. Margot raised an eyebrow. What? Leo swallowed but kept his voice firm. I said no. Margot was silent for a moment before a proud smile spread across her face. That was great, she said, dropping the act. See? Just by changing how you stand, how you look, how you speak, you already seem more confident. Bullies aren't always as tough as they seem. Sometimes just showing them you're not an easy target is enough to make them back off. Leo felt different. Not fearless, but not powerless either. We'll practice more, Margot said with an encouraging smile. You don't have to be a superhero, just someone who knows how to stand their ground. For the first time, Leo felt hopeful, like maybe he wasn't completely alone. Margot stepped closer. Stand up straight. Look them in the eye. Leo did as she said, and when he saw her nod in approval, he felt a little stronger. Now say something, she instructed. It doesn't have to be aggressive, just enough to show you're not weak. Leo took a deep breath, his voice trembling. Jason, I'm not afraid of you. Margot raised a hand. Good, but say it stronger. Again. Leo inhaled deeply, locked eyes with her, and this time his voice was firm. Jason, I'm not afraid of you. Margot smiled. That was awesome. Now you can add something to throw him off. Try this. Why do you always need your friends behind you? Can't handle things on your own? Leo hesitated, then repeated the line. Margot grinned. Perfect. Leo started to enjoy this. It wasn't just a lesson, it was a way to find his own strength. After an hour of practicing, he felt more confident. He no longer trembled at the thought of Jason. He had a plan. Before he left, Margot placed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes serious. Leo, you can do this. And if things ever get bad, remember, you're not alone. You have your mom, your teachers, and even me. If you ever need help, don't be afraid to ask. Leo looked at her, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Someone truly cared. Thank you, Margot. His voice was small but sincere. Margot chuckled. Anytime, kid. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. The next morning, Leo left Margot's house feeling different. As he stepped into the schoolyard, something had changed inside him. The fear was still there, but for the first time he also felt confident. Then Jason and his gang appeared. A few students watched from a distance, but no one dared to intervene. Leo took a deep breath, remembering Margot's words. Stand tall. Don't look away. Don't act weak. He locked eyes with Jason. I'm not running. I don't have time to waste on you. Jason blinked, caught off guard. Oh, so now you've got a mouth on you? He said, stepping forward, trying to intimidate Leo. Still just a weakling, though. Leo didn't move. If I'm so weak, why do you need your whole crew just to deal with me? Jason's friends exchanged awkward glances. They looked uncomfortable. Jason frowned. You think you're smart, huh? Leo stayed calm. I just feel sorry for you. A few students snickered. Jason's face turned red, his fists clenching. He took a deep breath, about to say something, but then he hesitated. Maybe he realized that if he threw a punch now, it would only prove Leo right. After a long pause, he tilted his chin up. You think you won? This isn't over? Then he turned and walked away, his gang reluctantly following. Leo stood his ground. His heart was pounding, but not from fear. He had done it. A kid he barely knew walked up to him. Hey, Leo, that was pretty cool. Want to sit with us at lunch? Leo blinked in surprise. Yeah, I'd like that. For the first time, something inside him felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. And for the first time, he didn't feel alone.